What is going on, everybody? This is Beanie, and welcome back to another MLB The Show Countdown episode. And today, we are going to be talking about just BR beasts. The guys that you can get in those bronze and silver rounds that are just absolute monsters for you. And there are a few golds, too, that made the top 10. No diamonds, because this is all about value. It's all about extracting maximum value out of your picks. And so we're going to be talking about those guys who you can get in the bronze round that maybe plays like a gold, that you can get in a silver round that maybe plays like a diamond, maybe a gold that plays like a diamond. Whatever the case may be, the guys who are going to contribute the most to your team and not cost you a lot in terms of a draft pick. Those are the guys that I think win BR for people. I think if you can get 4 or 5 of those just beast bronze and silvers that you can just get incredible value out of, and you add those to a couple diamonds and a couple golds that you get, and you know, you fill out your starting pitchers with all commons and all that. That is the perfect BR team. So we're going to be talking about the top 10 guys that I think are the best for serving this purpose. And guys, this list was incredibly hard to make. I had over 45 players that I was considering putting in the top 10, and I think it'd be a disservice not to talk about the guys that didn't end up making the list that were honorable mentions. And there are a few gold players in there, as well as a few gold players in the top 10. I'm just gonna run through and list off. I'm not gonna put them on the screen or anything. I'm just gonna do it verbally. And list off the guys that I was considering that just missed making the top 10 in no particular order. Okay, the honorable mentions are the 89 Trey Turner, the 85 Ben Zobrist, the 80 Jake Lamb, the 78 Yasmani Tomas, the 76 David Peralta, the 76 Ingurvis Solarte, the 84 overall Dante Bichette, the 83 overall Jared Saltalamacchia, the 82 overall Didi Gregorius, the 78 overall Griffey Sr., the 80 overall Chris Colabello, the 80 overall Johnny Damon, the 74 overall Billy Butler, the 80 overall Billy Burns, the 80 overall Jason Giambi, the 73 overall Adam Jones, the 84 overall Chipper Jones, the 83 overall Dale Murphy, the 82 overall Kenny Lofton, the 78 overall Lou Brock, the 84 overall Carlos Beltran, the 81 overall Aledmus Diaz, the 85 overall Chris Owings, the 82 overall Tony Gwynn, and the 85 overall Jose Ramirez. That's the position players. And the relief pitchers that I was considering for this list are the 83 overall Edwin Diaz, the 84 overall Pedro Strop, the 79 overall Carl Edwards Jr., the 83 overall Tony Watson, the 77 overall Antonio Bastardo, the 84 overall Greg Holland, the 83 overall Hunter Strickland, the 84 overall Brad Boxberger, and the 82 overall Francisco Rodriguez, or K-Rod. And so as you can see, it was a big list. And the top 10, I'm sure, is going to be awfully controversial, and there are going to be a lot of people that disagree with me. Like, you had this guy here, and, you know, I mean, he's obviously not as good as this guy. And, you know, I'll probably agree with you, but this was all about extracting value and, you know, getting guys with a lot of utility that can play in different spots, guys that have tools that really stand out, that will be able to help you, you know, in a variety of situations. Those were the guys that I was really looking for. And yeah, with all that said, guys, let's get into the top 10. Number 10 was the hardest to figure out, and honestly, it could be this guy or it could be any of the other 35 guys that I mentioned. But I'm starting out with a 77 overall Brandon Drury. This guy costs you nothing in the draft. It's just a bronze pick. It's nothing, but you are going to get an incredible amount of value out of him, especially on days that he's playing up. That's another thing that you always want to be mindful of, is guys that are playing up. because that can take, just like an average player, which Brandon Drury admittedly is, and make him into a guy that gives you a lot more value. This Brandon Drury card, though, is just a solid hitter all around whenever he is playing up. He's a right-handed bat, and right now he has 79 contact with 61 power versus righties. Some days it'll be better, some days it won't be quite as good, but even at his base, he's 70-52, which isn't great, but it's good. And against lefties, he's 74-64, definitely enough power to get the ball over the fence, definitely enough contact to put the ball in play very often. His vision is, about average. The big selling point with him is that he can play 5 different positions, and all 5 of them really are premium positions. I mean, second, third, left, center field, and right field. Oftentimes, it can be hard to find a really good center fielder or a really good second baseman. And if you pick this guy up in the bronze round, you're not going to have to worry about that. You can just plop Brandon Drury right in there, bat him towards the bottom of your order, and he's not going to be a hole in your lineup. There are definitely guys. I was considering guys like the 81 Aledmus Diaz here. The 84 Carlos Beltran I was considering here. But all of those guys ended up being silver picks, and I thought that the value of having this guy in a bronze round kind of outweighed that. So even though those guys are better players, I think that if you pick this guy up and then get a beast, another beast at a silver round, then you have 2 beasts in your lineup, and you still have 2 diamond and 2 gold rounds to work with to pick up players. This is another guy that I kind of struggled with in terms of whether I wanted to put him in the list or not, but I was like, yeah, okay, he deserves it. And it's the 88 overall Hanley Ramirez. This card is just a stud. He is a gold, so he is going to cost you one of those gold rounds, but I think he brings a tremendous amount of upside with him. Against righties, he is okay. He's very similar to the Brandon Drury. Not a ton of power, but decent contact. Against lefties, he's a beast, 87, 86. And his vision is right there with Drury's too. In Battle Royale, you are playing on All-Star, so your PCI is going to be, relatively big almost no matter what, compared to if you were playing on Hall of Fame. But it's always nice, the bigger it is, the better it is, really. His defense is not fantastic, but, at shortstop, it's not great by any stretch. But he does have that 94 speed with 79 stealing. So, you can bat this guy lead off, get him on base, and if you can get this guy on base, man, he is going to be game-breaking for you. At number 8 is the other gold that I put in this list, and it's the 85 overall Kelvin Herrera. And, golly, this list is so tough to put together. But I just put this guy in here because it seems like he plays up all the time, and that makes his per nines a lot better than what they look like. Right now, he's 92, 84, which is, bordering on elite. But his stuff is just tremendous. I mean, 5 different pitches. His pitch selection and stuff is like a dominant starter. He just doesn't have the stamina to go along with it. But, I mean, it's insane. He's throwing 101 consistently, 100, well, maybe he tops out at 101. He hits 99 consistently and hits 100 very often. He has a good changeup, a good slider, good curve. I love this card. I've always loved this card. And I think if you get him in that gold round, it's always tough to bite that bullet and spin that gold round. But, man, you're getting a guy that is going to just dominate really righty and lefty hitters. So you don't have to worry about splitting him up like that, but he's going to be a dominant force in your bullpen. And you could draft all commons in your bullpen and then draft Kelvin Herrera, and you could probably ride him out the whole game once you bring him in. It might suck if you go into extra innings, but I think that this is a guy that can give you 3 solid innings in Battle Royale, especially if you're efficient with your pitching. And, BR games are only 3 innings long, so that could win you the game right there. I feel like I sound like a retard in this episode. I don't feel like I'm articulating myself well enough. Like, I know what I want to say, I just can't say it. And I hope you guys are getting the idea of what I'm doing here. It's just all about value, all about the guys who are going to bring you the most value. And number 7 is Gary Sanchez. He plays a premium position. That's another criteria that goes into this. Guys that can play premium positions where it's very, very thin and it's very hard to get value out of. And catcher is definitely maybe the best example of that. And Gary Sanchez is just an absolute beast. He's going to hit a ton of home runs for you. Your PCI is going to be plenty big enough. I mean, like I said, you are playing on All-Star. Against lefties, you know, you might be like, well, I don't know if I want to play that guy, you know, low contact, low vision. Once again, your PCI is going to be fine. Just square it up, and that 74 power is going to be plenty to get it out. His defense is passable. It's not very good, but it is passable. So, yeah, I think that this card is that if you can get this card and lock down catcher in that silver round, it's huge. Another guy to look at in the silver rounds is someone like the flashback Jared Saltalamacchia, but the problem with him is that he's virtually unusable versus left-handed pitching. So, you know, you do have to take that into account, and you may have to find him a platoon like Wilson Ramos. And then if you do that, you've wasted 2 silver rounds on one position, which is something that you want to try to avoid in Battle Royale. Okay, in my honorable mentions section, I said Hunter Strickland. But I think I've changed my mind, and I think that I'm going to put him in the top 10 and move Carter Capps out to the honorable mention. And the reason I do that is because Carter Capps is extremely effective against right-handed pitching. He's not as effective against left-handed pitching. Hunter Strickland can pitch against both effectively. Even though he's better against righties, he can handle lefties fine because of that changeup. And they both throw extremely hard, both hit upper 90s, maybe hit 100. They both have, you know, a good slider, but instead of a curveball, Strickland has that changeup. And that to me is the separating factor. So move Capps out to the honorable mention and move Hunter Strickland in to the number 6 spot, because I think that I would rather have him in my bullpen than Carter Capps. And I think he's an insanely valuable silver player to have in your bullpen. Okay, and at number 5, we're sticking with the Giants, and I'm going to go with a guy that I've talked about a ton on this channel. It seems like every time I build the budget team, he has to be on it. I love this card. It's maybe one of my favorite cards in the game, and that's the 80 overall Eduardo Nunez. Every time I see him in BR, unless it's some crazy circumstance, I always draft him. He is just a monster. I love him. And, you know, it may be like, well, he has those weird splits where he's better against righties than he is lefties. Well, it's kind of tricky with him because against righties, you're just looking to get on base. You're just looking to, you know, to get a nice little single, steal second with his amazing speed, and, you know, and maybe try to steal third and get him across to score a run. That's what you want to do against righties. Against lefties, he plays up a lot against lefties too. And when he does, that makes him just insane because, you know, 60, 57, while not great, that 79 vision, your PCI will be fine. And 57 power, guys, as you know, is enough to hit the ball out of the ballpark. So what I'll do a lot of times with him is against righties, like I said, I'll just be looking to get on base. Against lefties, I'll get a little bit more aggressive and start trying to hit those extra base hits, trying to hit those home runs, and it's been very effective for me. Also, the biggest benefit with this guy is that you can play him anywhere. Let's say that your draft, you know, works out in a weird way where you had to take a couple bronze starting pitchers and you were left with like a common shortstop. And, you know, you draft your bench and they give you a bunch of good third basemen, and you drafted Eduardo Nunez earlier in the draft. What you can do is you can draft that third baseman and then move Eduardo Nunez to shortstop, and he's going to be an extremely effective shortstop for you. And he's going to be a great leadoff hitter for you. I love this card, guys. I love it. It gives you so much flexibility. You can get so incredibly creative with your team. I think he's one of the most valuable silvers in the game. Going to another guy that I talk about all the time on this channel, and it's the 78 overall Jake Diekman. And what can I say that hasn't already been said about this card? He has excellent per-nines, some of the best stuff in the game. He throws his two-seam up to like 98. He throws his sinker at like 94, 95. He's a freaking flamethrower. He has a great slider. He has a good changeup. He's effective against lefties. Well, he's effective against righties. He's devastating against lefties. And the fact that you can get a guy like that in a bronze round is just, it's too much. Like, you should not be able to get this much value in a bronze round. It should be illegal, but it's not. You can totally get this guy in the bronze round, scoop him up, and get a lockdown left-handed reliever in a super cheap draft slot. That's insanely valuable. The next guy I really struggled with, because this is a guy that I've passed on several times in Battle Royale. And looking back, I think that was a mistake. And it's for one very simple reason. And I think that makes him one of the 3 most valuable players when it comes to drafting BR. And it is the 82 overall Jackie Robinson card. Now let me explain. This card is number 3 on this list for one simple reason. That secondary position at second base. If you move him to second base, if you move him away from first base, he goes from an 82 overall to, I think, like a 95 overall. He's an easy diamond. This card is so valuable if you can get him in a silver round. It's basically, if you and you put him at second base, it's basically like having 3 diamond picks, basically. And he plays like a diamond too. Very similar to the Hanley with honestly with better defense and less versatility. This card has 99 vision. You're never going to have a PCI problem. Against righties, kind of like the Eduardo Nunez, you're just trying to get on base. You're just trying to get on base so you can utilize his amazing speed. 93, 86 stealing. That's amazing. Against lefties, he's a monster. Your PCI is going to be almost as big as it can be. And he has 70 power. So he's going to be able to hit a lot of home runs for you. If you care about discipline, he also has that 83 discipline. On defense, you may take that small penalty for playing him in his secondary position, but remember that 93 speed. He also has 86 reaction and 77 fielding, so he's going to be very reliable for you at second base. His arm is stronger than a lot of second basemen that I've seen. Second basemen don't tend to have exceptionally strong arms, and his is okay. His is, fringy average. This card is a card that I don't think I will ever pass on again unless the draft has worked out to where I've drafted like Robinson Cano or something in a diamond round before him. If that's the case, maybe I might have to. But if you can get this card with an opening at second base, do it. And first base will not be hard to fill. I promise you that. This card is worth it in every sense of the word. Left-handed relievers are extremely difficult to come by in Battle Royale. If you see a Tony Watson, grab him. If you see Diekman, definitely grab him. This card you can find in the bronze rounds every so often. If you see him, grab him so fast, because he is basically just as, or almost just as good as his 95 overall version. The only thing, especially if you use pure analog pitching, the only thing that kind of sucks about him is his extremely low walk per 9 and control. But if you're good with pure analog, it completely, or not completely, but all but eliminates that. You'll be fine. Now, if you use a different interface, it might be quite a bit tougher. But I still think in the long run that 98 hit per 9, that 94 K per 9 with excellent velocity and break, it's going to be fine for you. You are going to be okay with a bit of a wild pitcher. He might be effectively wild for you. And this card is excellent. His stuff is amazing. Per-9s are amazing. Grab this guy every single time and you will not be disappointed. Very similarly, number 1 overall, the 82 overall Aroldis Chapman. Like I said, left-handed relievers are incredibly hard to come by. And if you can get one, oftentimes it's the best idea to grab one. And this Chapman is just like the Billy Wagner. He is almost identical to his diamond version, except he doesn't have the control that his diamond version has. And oh my God, dude, it just lightninged outside. Lightning just struck outside. And I don't know if the mic picked that up or not. It's coming a freaking flood here right now, guys. But this card is insane. If you're good with pure analog, this is one of the best relievers in the game. You can get him in a silver round. His per-9s are basically perfect as far as his hit and K per-9 go. He throws almost just as hard as the live series. I've seen him hit 100, definitely quite a bit. He has a great slider, and he has that changeup that the Billy Wagner doesn't have to make him even more effective against righties. I love this card. I think if you see this card in Battle Royale and you pass up on him, there's something wrong with you, because I mean, it's a no-brainer. I don't care if you have your favorite silver hitter in the game in a silver round. If you see this card, you should pass on that hitter and grab him, because he is 100% worth it. And guys, I'm running a little long on this video. I've gotten quite a bit wordy. I'm sorry about that. This video is going to be a bit longer, I guess. But yeah, I will see you guys later on today or tomorrow. I don't know. The weather outside is frightful. I've got a little fire going right here, and it's, you know, pretty delightful. God dang it, I'm so stupid. But anyways, yeah, guys, I might, and by the way, guys, if you made it to the end of the video, I do want to ask you this question. I've thought about doing, another series that I would put on a separate playlist, where I, play, where, you know, I'll play like 3 or 4 Battle Royale games, or, you know, 1 or 2 ranked seasons games, and have them lightly edited, you know, like where I don't edit them much at all. There might be a lot of dead air with like me not talking and me just playing and stuff, but it would give you the added benefit of seeing like more of my at-bats and more of my pitching outings and stuff like that, instead of seeing just like the action moments and stuff. I know that sounds a lot like streaming, and I'm gonna start streaming really soon, but I'm still gonna edit it like a little bit, just like in between innings and stuff. But if that's something that you would like to see, where you get to see more of my games, and I'll still be talking and stuff, just not as frequently as you see whenever I have the ability to edit it up and stuff. If you guys would like to see that, let me know in the comments. And yeah, guys, I will talk to you later. Oh, and sorry, I know you guys are going to disagree with this list like a ton. Like, I'm going to get a ton of comments. Don't at me, bro. But anyways, I'll see you guys later. Peace.